Autism in Plain Sight. By Rich Shull. Autism unknowingly has been figured out now for centuries now. Really? Autism is the very one-by-one thoughts, the internal thoughts, signaled by the autism lack of eye contact, that make every part of the human mind work. Like a needle in a haystack, or your keys you're looking for on the counter. They are often in plain sight, just like the answer to this question, autism. Autism, the invisible thought process, has been figured out now for centuries now, but it is not realized as. The thoughts we identified have never been in a textbook before. Men in general never uses this kind of thought process anymore, as evolution has replaced it with what you know as normal thoughts. Autism, an older cave person kind of human thought. Autism spans from special education to savants to even Einstein. And these autism thoughts are the building blocks of the mind. Figured out, autism answers every question of the mind and answers the psychology of life questions. Many of the great minds like Einstein started out life dead last in special education. While we were there, we were learning a daydream-based lack of eye contact thought process that yields normal thoughts just like you use when totally figured out. We started out below 1, 2, 3 in the ABCs, learning to think in pictures, or in other words with your daydreams. We inadvertently learned the longhand version of normal thoughts, and these thoughts are based in your mind's eye. However, they are much more complicated than a daydream, but in reality, that is closest thing normal humans do that mimics our process. Once we learn those picture thoughts that are internal to us and invisible to you, they result in some shortcuts. These shortcut thoughts are what you know as normal thought. That is why this Autism Explained is the whole key to psychology. And it is also why no amount of research of any type has yielded a clue to the human mind. In other words, the thoughts you don't really know and use are normal thoughts. They are simple shortcuts that work well for most of the population. Autism and the building block thoughts we know as our normal are the nitty-gritty nut and bolts of the mind. The human mind is sadly one big photo album, and not very impressive at all. Despite talking with the same process parents use, man is not all that far advanced from his cave person roots. His mind is very simple and simply smart by default. So there are some good points to his mind, but Einstein thoughts, for example, if they are like mine, are nothing more than huge thought banks of photo albums. Honestly, if science could hook monitors to our brains and even your own, and watch the thoughts form and compile and get converted to normal thoughts, the resulting thought process would be mildly embarrassing. The ideal of men being exceptional or Einstein being brilliant would be lost. Mind-wise, this will be impossible to believe. But there is no real difference between the village idiot, a savant, Einstein, and a normal, well-rounded social functioning person. The picture thoughts that make us work are not known about, and until they are, man is clueless and stabbing in the dark spaces of psychology to discover a thought process that is not there to discover. Keep in mind, however, these thoughts are not all that strange after all. The computer that made this extra normal video possible was fathered by autistic Alan Turing 1912 to 1954. Autism was mostly clueless back in the 1950s, but man likes our inventions. And today autism is really clueless as they gloss over our abilities and herd us off to a group home for our own good.